Hello, students. Welcome to week 3, June 15th through 21st. Congratulations, you've already made it through Unit 1. We're now entering into Unit 2. Let's go over the module for this week. Of course, you'll find your videos here. Next, let's move on to our readings. We have a couple different readings for this week. The first is how to set business priorities. This is going to pair you up, to line you up for our next big writing assignment. So please read this article. Next, LinkedIn Learning. We are moving on to a LinkedIn Learning for critical thinking and problem solving. This is just a 45-minute course, so it's definitely something you can complete pretty quickly here at the beginning of the week. So of course you will link right here to find that course. Okay, moving right along, we have 2 notes for you to review this week as far as content and lecture material. Next, you will find 2 items related to our next major writing assignment here. So here we go. Assignment guide for major writing assignment number 2 about workplace priorities. Now you can see why it's important to make sure you get that reading done early in the week about how to set business priorities. So as organizations continue to adjust to a post-pandemic operations and adapt to hybrid and remote environments, employee well-being and engagement have emerged as top priorities. HR leaders face pressure to retain talent while maintaining a healthy and productive workplace. Now, understanding the experiences of our employees can provide valuable insight into which policies and practices are most urgently in need of change or improvement to retain our top performers at a company. So we are going to write a report about your findings from different sources about what should be the most pressing concerns and challenges that the company faces that they're going to address over the next year. So again, read this article about setting business priorities because there are so many different topics and things that companies can focus on, but of course, our time is limited, our time is valuable, so companies must make this decision. So to set you up for this, you're going to be conducting both primary research and secondary research. All right, there's more information here about who is your audience. Your audience is a human resources professional at a mid to large size organization. They're looking on the top concerns of employees at their organization. So what you're going to do is you're going to be reaching out and finding somebody that has a career and interviewing them. Then you will put yourself in the shoes of somebody who works at that company, and using that interview, that will be some of what advises what you are going to recommend ultimately to this business professional. Remember that our writing is decision oriented. And so ultimately we are going to research different organizational problems and issues and what should be a priority at this organization. We're then going to research more about that issue and ultimately make a recommendation. What should HR do about this? Should they make it this a priority in the coming year? You can find the link and some specs here about this. And of course, we're going to use a minimum of 3 sources, one being the primary research that is required. Make sure you do pay attention to the AI statement as well as the announcement that has been sent out this week about AI, just to make sure we're all on the same page of the expectations there. All right, so here we have a reminder. We want to conduct an interview with the professional, ideally next week between June 22nd or 26th. Now, if you were able to schedule that interview in advance, you will simply need to make sure you have completed your interview guide prior to conducting the interview. It's not due until the 21st. So if you plan the interview earlier than the 21st, then it's up to you to make sure you have the writing guide going into the interview. All right, so there's information in this page Of course, just reminding you in this assignment, we are not only writing, we are also learning about how to interview and then how to analyze an interview. So here's information about how to do that. You can reach out to someone on LinkedIn, via email, but we do want to make sure that our students are conducting interviews and going through the practice. So please record your interview so that you can submit something to me, either a video or audio file of the interview. Now, you'll find all the requirements here as well. It is required to please submit the interviewee's name, their place of business, their job title, how you contacted them, and the email address or phone number that was used to make contact. Now, ultimately, you will need to transcribe the conversation so that you can analyze it. And there are many tools available for you. It's totally up to you. Sometimes if you record Zoom, it'll have a transcript already. And some students have also used this other app at Otter AI. All right, so let me know if you have any questions about that requirement. Okay, so what you're going to submit for the week 3 assignment and discussion boards, we'll complete that critical thinking and problem solving by June 17th. Next, we're moving into a discussion board this week. Now, do take note that the discussion board has the due date of June 17th for the initial post and the 2 required replies by June 19th. However, there is another post that is due in there. So it is suggested that you make post 2 on Thursday. Now, in the administration kind of back into this assignment, I can only give 2 due dates. So I put that at Wednesday and the actual due date of Friday, but I do recommend that you check in on Thursday. Okay, so for this, we are looking at a case study regarding Boeing and their culture crisis. Boeing manufactures airplanes. So you're going to have your initial analysis. Here are the specs for that. Next, you're going to reply to your group. And then finally, some sort of recommendation. We are in new groups this week. We're in our Unit 2 discussion board, so you'll be meeting new people other than the folks that you met in Unit 1. If you are with people from Unit 1, it's a total coincidence. These are computer-generated groups. A note on group participation. So you just keep trucking along and doing your best, but please don't feel like you have to wait if you ended up in a group just by chance, where people are waiting till the last minute, 10, 11 p.m. You don't have to stay up. Certainly. So hopefully everyone is excited to get started on this case study and will make their post in a timely manner. So please do that. But if you're in a group that doesn't, don't worry. You just do your part and keep going, and that's what your grade will reflect. All right, next we have our interview guide, so that will be due by the end of the week, and this is very simple. It's just simply a script that you will use when you conduct your interview, just to make sure you are organized and prepared. You have the questions to ask in this interview. So you're going to prepare the writing guide. Here is what is required. You'll be listing out your questions as well as a brief script of your name and the research that you're conducting. So you can find that all here. All right, folks, that is it for our playbook for Module 3. Please let me know if you have any questions. I hope you're having a great week. Bye now.